What is happening, YouTube? It's Mr. Chillout here, and on this week's tips, we're going to be going through Halo 5 Guardians Warzone Firefight. Now, the first tip that I'm going to bring you is, for me, one of the biggest fundamentals of any first-person shooter that you'll pick up and play, and that is learning your maps. You might ask why this is so important, and it's quite simple. Like, you need to know enemies going to be, where you're going to be spawning, where you can see specific spots on the map from, and how to get there quickly, how to flank certain areas. These are all really important for when you're trying to go on the offense, or even when you're trying to defend. There's nothing worse than trying to hold out a certain area and then bam, you get flanked and you're like, oh crap, how did that happen? But if you don't know the map, you can't succeed. So learn your maps. My next tip is all about your enemies. You need to learn and know your enemies. This is really important in terms of choosing how to attack them and what weapon or what vehicle is best suited for the job. Also, learning the weak spots of your enemies will help you out during a firefight. Learning quick methods of killing your enemies also helps you out, like a noob combo on an elite. 2 shots and the elite is dead. Even on the later rounds, this is still really helpful. A lot like using a plasma pistol charged up on a Phaeton or a Banshee will take them out of the sky, temporarily disabling them, giving you the upper hand. My next tip is get to know your arsenal. The selection of weapons and vehicles that you've got is massive, and in Warzone you get to use modified versions of normal weapons from Halo. So you might get a shotgun which does incendiary damage. Little things like that can give you the upper hand in a firefight. What I like to do is I like to sit there sometimes on the menus and just go through my recs and just double check and see what I've got and see what I can do with them, and then next time I play, try it out. The only way that you're going to actually get to know your weapons or vehicles is trying them on the battlefield, but try not to waste the ones which are really helpful. Like, I like to use Ghosts a lot. They are one of the best vehicles for getting points. You can run over numerous enemies in one strafe, and you can probably pick up 500 to 1,000 points in one run if you aim for the right areas and wait for them to bunch up. In the early rounds, this is going to help you get to them higher level wrecks, so that when you get to the later rounds, you've got anything at your disposal. My next tip is all about teamwork. This is such a massive factor for not just surviving, but winning in the later round, in particular, killing them mythic bosses and legendary bosses. Now, in the early stages of the game, around 1 to 3, you can get away with being a little bit more Rambo and running in a bit more guns blazing. You will be able to take out certain enemies on your own, but the bosses you'll still have to work together to kill, otherwise you'll just end up dying over and over again. As you progress to levels, especially 4 and 5, you will need to implement your teamwork, and I like the strategy of divide and conquer. Now, you need to shoot at your enemies from several different angles. This is for 2 reasons. The first being the enemy won't focus fire on just one of you, so it gives you that added advantage of being able to not take as much damage. And the other factor is it also stops you from being flanked by other little enemies that are running around on the map, so you're more likely to survive and be within the game for longer, allowing you to put down more damage. In terms of the later rounds, like I said about working together, if you've all got vehicles, you need to have vehicles that complement each other. Like, there's no point in having 5 tanks and you're against a load of fast moving vehicles like Ghosts and that. You need other things like Banshees in the air just to give you that added support from the air. It gives you a better vantage point of the whole map, and you can start calling out enemies from up there as well. Another thing is
is talk. You need to talk with your teammates. If you're in a lobby where nobody's talking, you'll struggle to know where the enemies are. You'll struggle to coordinate your attacks, so you won't be shooting at the same enemy at the same time. You'll realise that all your attacks are fragmented, and with the big enemies, it's almost impossible to do enough damage without dying all the time, and this is so important when you've got a big respawn time, especially on rounds 4 and 5. So my next point is only a quick one. It's all about opening them packs. You need to keep your stocks replenished for your wrecks. You need to have the guns that you want to use at your disposal and the vehicles that you want to use whenever you need them, so that no matter what happens in a battle, you've got the answer. And for my final tip, it's a little trick that I picked up quite early on in Warzone, and that is at the end of each round, you actually have a few seconds where the enemies still stick around, and if you get bullets into these enemies, you get points for the kills once the round ends. So you can use these few extra seconds to get extra points at the end of a round without actually having to kill the enemy. This is really handy for building your score and also unlocking the higher wrecks, so use this to the best that you can. Always just spam bullets at the end of a round. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. If you've liked the video and found it helpful, whack a like on it, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Laters.